What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now today we have to go ahead, sit down, and talk about the future of Battlefield 2042 with Season 2. Now, the other day I went ahead and discussed Update 1.2 for Battlefield, and during that same exact day, the developers over at DICE decided to go ahead and put up a live stream discussing the future of this game itself, and also what we should expect within Season 2. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is one of the major things that we need within the next season to keep Battlefield 2042 pumping along? Now, I know a lot of people are going to go ahead and say specialist. I agree with you guys. You know, the specialist changes are very crucial. Sadly, I'm going to tell you guys right now, they have absolutely no plans and no dates on when they should discuss the specialist with us. I'm disgusted over that. This is a little side tangent here, but I am extremely salty about this whole situation because this was discussed to us, what, like 3-4 months ago? And I remember them specifically saying, oh yeah, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be extremely open, tell you guys our plans with specialists, tell you how we're going to, implement classes. We're going to get the show on the road. 3, 4, 5+ months later, absolutely no word from them. What a bunch of liars, man. What a bunch of liars. But again, that has nothing to do with today's topic. One of the biggest things that we need to see within Season 2 is content. Season 1, I don't know how Battlefield 2042 pushed through it, because I remember everybody specifically saying that if there's no content within this update, within this season, we're not coming back. They released one map in Season 1, and out of nowhere, everybody forgives them. Typical Battlefield community right now. It's kind of disgusting because, they don't do this with other games. Like Star Wars Battlefront, of course, they'll stand up for that game. But when it comes to Battlefield, we will just completely bend over for DICE at every step of the way. But Season 2 is coming out, and everybody's saying the exact same thing. And honestly, I think Season 2 is going to be the breaking point. I truly think Season 2 is going to completely lay out the deathbed for Battlefield 2042. Because once again, everybody's saying, the map in Season 1, it's actually pretty fun. But that doesn't excuse them from releasing no content within that season. We need to see more maps within Season 2 that resemble the same style as Exposure. Maybe not the same, size or anything, but, making it more infantry friendly, allowing vehicles to still have their playtime, but keeping it balanced across the board. We need more maps like that. Well, sadly, the developers came out on live stream, and they told us exactly what to expect within Season 2. We are getting, ladies and gentlemen, one map. I don't know how they had the balls to come out on live stream and say such a thing, because they knew the community would not be happy about this. Yet they are saying it so confidently, like we are excited about this bullshit. I'm sorry to say it, but no. Seeing one map being introduced within Season 2 is an absolute flop, in my personal opinion. Now, they did go ahead and say that this map is going to resemble somewhat like Exposure. It's going to be more smaller, close-quarter combat. The way they described it made me think of something like Operation Lockers or Operation Metro. Mostly infantry-focused, extremely tight quarters, and, just fast-paced, action-packed gameplay. And I'm happy with that. I've been waiting for more maps like this to be introduced into Battlefield 2042 for ages now. For some reason, I don't know why, they didn't introduce any of these maps within the beginning of it. Usually there's at least 1 to 2 small-range maps in Battlefield games, just to add a little variety. Battlefield 2042 released with none. It's mind-boggling, but here we are, Season 2. They're going to introduce a brand new map that actually sounds very good. But it's one map being introduced into the game. I truly, at this point, think that the developers are handling this game like it's a joke. They aren't taking it serious, so guess what? I'm not going to take it serious. I'm sorry to say, I want to. I really do want to take it serious, but they are not showing any initiative to improve the overall game. Now, I'll admit, there's been a positive updates, bugs, glitches, performance, all being polished off. Even though, current date, it's still messy. 8+ months later, it's still a disaster, but they have put in some work. But alongside the work, they have to introduce content. I mean, every Battlefield game has released a broken mess, and I do not agree with this whatsoever. I think it's ridiculous that the community actually accepts Battlefield releasing in a broken state every time it launches. That's embarrassing, if you ask me. But of course, once again, we accept it. But just like every other Battlefield game, they mix fixing the game with also introducing content. Battlefield 5 released more content at this rate than Battlefield 2042. So I don't want to see anybody coming in the comment section saying, well, they're giving us free content now. Free maps, free weapons, yada yada this, yada yada that. So, because they're giving us free content, they're going to release it slower than if they did DLC map packs. Well, Battlefield 5 didn't have DLC map packs. It was free content, just like Battlefield 2042. Yet and still, Battlefield 5 almost got double the amount of content than Battlefield 2042 at this rate. How embarrassing. It seems like every year, or not every year, every introduction into Battlefield, they give us less and less and less. It's almost as if EA is testing the community to see how little of content they could put in the game, before we actually snap and finally fight back. And still to this day, we're not even fighting back at our full potential, which makes me think EA still won't improve anything for the future games whatsoever. Guys, we have to put our foot down and make changes happen. Accepting bullcrap like this to happen to us on a gamely basis is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And it's funny because Battlefield 2042 is not shy at all when it comes to introducing a battle pass or, adding in the store with tons of different content. They'll make sure to add in content when you purchase it. But when it comes to free content, what we're supposed to be getting for paying $60+ for this broken piece of crap mess, they won't give it to us. You have to pay for everything within Battlefield nowadays. And you know what? At that point, just give me paid DLC. Trust me, I like free content because it keeps the community connected. But if it's going to make it harder to get replayability out of your game, then shoot, I'll just pay for it at this point. I don't care. And I know, they're going to be adding in more Portal content, more old school classic Battlefield maps, which obviously will find their way into the all-out warfare rotation. So technically, there is going to be more content within Battlefield 2042. But that's not what I want to see out of this game. It's great and all to see old school classics return. But at the end of the day, we want to know Battlefield 2042 for what it truly is. We don't want to have old school maps to keep us active in your game. We want to see new content, new maps, things that, maybe 5 years down the road, we'll look back and say, yo, Battlefield 2042 had a pretty cool map. That map Exposure, I would love to see that come into this current Battlefield game, or that new map that came out in 2042, I would love to see that come into the current Battlefield game. That's what we want out of this title. We don't want to have to depend on nostalgia to have a good time with your product. We just want you guys to develop a good core Battlefield experience, and a core Battlefield experience needs to have a good rotation of original maps in order for it to be replayable. And what burns even more is knowing that the reason that we're getting less new content is because they're too busy and focused on fixing the original core base maps. Yes, you heard that correctly. Basically, throughout of all Season 2, the quote-unquote new content that we'll be getting throughout that season is going to be remakes of Orbital and remakes of Manifest, basically what we got with Kaleidoscope. That's what they consider new content. Let me tell you something, Dice. That isn't new. That's just, once again, incompetence. You guys failed to make the maps good at launch, so all of these months down the road, you spent all of this time, instead of making new stuff, fixing the mess that you made in the first place. It's ridiculous. And you want to know what's even funnier? Is that they're prioritizing Orbital and Manifest over Hourglass. They said they don't even know if they're going to be picking up Hourglass, if they're going to even edit up Hourglass. One of the biggest, most open, useless maps I've ever seen in my whole life. They advertised Hourglass as just a straight up city, a sanded out city that just looks fantastic. You go into Hourglass, you're running over miles of sand. You might as well just pick up a goddamn camel to get over that freaking disaster. It's ridiculous. And they're choosing Orbital and Manifest? Two maps that I actually kind of enjoy over fixing Hourglass first? Once again, it proves the priorities of these developers, and it shows the incompetence that they are choosing the most, it's not the most, but the more well-made maps to fix over the worst map in the game. At the end of the day, Season 2 is going to flop. I mean, Battlefield 5, I believe at this point, had multiple maps introduced into the game. They introduced Firestorm, which once again wasn't the most outstanding game move, but it was still something fresh and new for Battlefield players to try out. Battlefield 5 is miles past Battlefield 2042, and that's embarrassing because Battlefield 5 was probably one of my most hated Battlefield games, and 2042 just topped that by 10,000. At the end of the day, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and check out Season 2 when it drops. I'm going to try out the new content, try out the new map, and I'm sure it's going to be fun. I'm sure the new map is going to be great. But will it keep the attention of your audience? Not a chance. Honestly, with Kaleidoscope, there should have been 2 other maps that have been remade and introduced into the game. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be waiting for all of these remakes to come in. You're just adding cover to the maps. The fact that it's taking 3, 4, 5+ months to add cover is ridiculous in my personal opinion, and it should be able to be multitasked with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of developers who are apparently working on this game. I think it's a skeleton crew, which is why we're getting no content. But according to EA and according to DICE, there are so many people working on this game. You know, hundreds of people are, making it. Then why can't we get the remakes now and more new content within Season 2? It's not logical at all. Guys, I'm done ranting your ears off. You guys go down in the comment section and leave your opinions about this whole topic. I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation here. And if you're okay with one map being introduced, or if you think it's an absolute disaster that they're not bringing any content into the game in the future. But, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, a bums, a hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me, there's two ways to do so. I have Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also, want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.